how you're doing. Welcome to the channel. My name's Alex. I just wanted to touch real quick on Ammon Hillman being mentioned on Joe Rogan. I've made a couple videos talking about Ammon Hillman. I'm super happy Danny Jones made it onto JRE, and they spent about 20-25 minutes talking basically about Ammon Hillman and his theories.
I had this dude on my show, speaking of the strife between the academics and the self-taught online people, influencers, whatever you want to call them. This dude was, he was kicked out of his university.
It took him a little while to actually mention Ammon. I thought that was odd. I was just waiting for him to mention the name, and it actually took Joe asking, "Who is this?" and eventually said it was Ammon. I don't know what took so long, but I'm just happy he actually mentioned him. I think this is all pretty interesting too, because since Joe Rogan had Wes Huff on his channel, Joe Rogan's actually been attending church and seems to be diving deeper into the Bible. I know when Danny Jones came on and this came about, I'm sure Wes Huff wasn't happy about it, but I'm happy it's there.
Like, what were the original stories? Because, like, human beings are not a good source of information, especially back then. It's just too hard to be accountable. Why would you be honest? People make grandiose claims. They exaggerate. We see it today. It's like humans today are the same as humans back then. We're flawed.
Right.
So we know today that our versions of history are deeply biased.
Joe made some really good connecting points on just, saying how the humans of the past are the humans of today. And it's kind of what I've said over a couple of videos on, what was the incentive for these people in the past to tell the truth. And, looking at intellectuals from the past, not everyone knew how to read and write. It kind of ties into the idea that Jesus was just a magician. And, if you see something just fantastic and it was a magic trick, it would blow people's minds. So I just think a lot of the things from the Bible, they're just taken from different places and put into one book. I genuinely think a lot of people don't realize that. I think also, when you are looking at these translations, and he brought up the book of Isaiah because Wes Huff tried to pound that into his head when he was on. Who cares if it's the same translation over 1,000 years? Impressive, yes, that it hasn't, diverted from the original, but it's still not the oldest writing. It's not anywhere near the oldest writing. And I'm really happy that Sumerian came up a couple times in this, because there's so many stories, including the Great Flood story, that really seems like what's in the Bible was plagiarized from Sumerian, along with all these other cultures, because that is the first writing, Sumerian.
But that's also what John Marco Allegro alleges.
Kind of.
Well, he said that the ancient Sumerian word for a mushroom, for Christ, is a mushroom that's covered in God's semen.
Yeah.
Joe's interest really peaked when he said other scholars wouldn't debate him. You can tell this, maybe Joe in his mind, he's starting to think, how can I get Ammon Hillman onto my show? The fact that Christ was used so many times before Jesus. I mean, Bart Ehrman, I forget how you say his name. He mentions in this that he was shocked that it was mentioned before Jesus. You could tell this just really connected with Joe, and it really had some like gears turning in his head as to damn. Because if you think he's been consuming all this information at church and from, biblical scholars, I don't know where he's getting all of his information, but, this would make a lot more sense to Joe from the past. And I will say, this episode with Danny Jones, it did seem like this was kind of more of an old Joe Rogan episode. I was just really happy to see Danny Jones on there, and I had a feeling it would bring the old Joe out. I personally would love to see Ammon Hillman on Joe Rogan's show. I think it's a high possibility it could happen. And, I hope Danny Jones has him on again with someone who can actually debate him, that can read the Greek like Ammon. But it doesn't seem like many people are doing it. So all of us people who are interested will just have to keep waiting and speculating. I hope you guys liked the video. Please subscribe, hit like, and I'll see you next time.